What is up, everybody? How you doing, Mr. Sullivan, today?
All good, man.
Are we
Doing
ready
good.
to talk about the corpse of the cannibal today?
I am. I was looking forward to this one too. So
Really? Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Here's the question: Are we a corpse grinder fan or are we a Barnes fan?
I mean, it's one of those. I like them both. I don't know.
I
I
am.
can. I was gonna say I can tell you that
Uh,
with Chris Barnes, I understood a lot more of his vocals on the bleeding
okay.
than the 27 words that I have learned for Hammer Smashed Face. So
They're hit.
their big hit there,
Their
yeah.
big hit. If you really Ace Ventura, it is funny that you have this big movie Ace Ventura and you have Cannibal. And Jim Carrey was a big fan, so he
Yep.
wanted them. It was like
He, I heard an interview with him that he actually wanted Napalm Death first.
really, he loves all
Yeah.
those bands like
He does. He's a
Napalm.
big he does not look like he would be a death
Oh,
metal guy.
that's the
You
best
know.
part. Those are the best ones. They're the
Yeah.
undercover metalheads.
Yeah.
That's why I call them the undercover metalheads. I love
And there was
it.
I did hear it was I think it was Paul Mazurkowitz said that they initially said they didn't they're like they were going to pass on being in the movie.
Oh, I've heard that too. I've heard that.
And I think they just kind of pestered him, and like it was like 3 or 4 phone calls later, they're like, "Nah, fuck it, whatever. We'll just."
Yeah,
Because
you
I
know.
think it was something like, "Ah, well, that's gonna like ruin our credibility or something."
Well, they
Or it
thought
was
about
gonna.
it.
They thought it was gonna hurt their image or something.
Yeah. Their image, whatever that is. Jeez, you sing about zombies, ain't much of an image.
About killing
I call
people.
it I call it Cannibal Corpse zombie metal. That's what I call it.
No,
But
I mean, because half of the songs are about like the dead coming back to life.
well, here's the real question: What is a Cannibal Corpse? I know what it is. That's why I'm asking you. What do
I
you think
have.
of it?
I would imagine that it is like they're just zombies eating zombies.
Zombies eating zombies. You're exactly right. I watched the documentary. There's a 3 disc documentary on them, 20 Years of Torment, and they were like, "Well, what's a cannibal corpse?" Everybody's like, "Yeah, I've always wondered that. No, it's just a corpse comes back and eats other corpses." It's like genius. It's like,
It's right in the
God,
name.
yeah, it's right there. So,
Right there in our face.
all right, are we ready to do this?
Yeah, man.
All right, it's 2-man show. We know what to do. Let's spin the wheel.
There it goes.
All right. So what we'll do is just pick and pick, and we'll go from there. I kind of shortened the turn, so it's a little bit quicker to the point. We got 16 albums, 16
Yeah.
to go over.
It's it's an endurance lesson.
It is.
Kill.
Kill. What a good start.
Which we were just talking about that
That's right.
before we started.
All right.
Um,
How do you feel about Kill?
I mean, I'm just kind of looking at my notes here. It just grabs you right in the face right away.
It does. The
And
sound is amazing.
it's a really good sound, and it just like pummels you the entire time until the very last ballad song at the end there.
The ballad. If you look at all those songs, it's like Make 'em Suffer, Death Walking Terror. It's they. I was going to get into it, but this is a good start. You have what is called the Cannibal Groove. They have this groove they can just come out with, and it's catchy stuff. They write catchy stuff,
They
but
really
it's
do.
so brutal. It's like, but this is the first album with Eric Rutan as the producer. So if you look at Gore Obsessed to this, or no, Wretched Spawn to Kill, it's a very different album to me.
Yep.
So
I did notice that. Yeah, the Infinite Misery, the ballad at the end
That's
there.
right. Infinite. So for me, it is a high A, low S. Um,
Yeah,
where do you think we want to put this? Like kind of high A to
I
start?
yeah, I would definitely put it up there because it's
Yeah,
like
it's really good. I can go back to that album. It doesn't feel outdated. Like you can tell it was
mhm.
like so long ago. The drumming is, I think the drumming was a big
I
improvement.
yeah, I feel like um up until this point, the drumming was kind
Man,
of like stock, I guess.
yes, very much.
Very like, and again, nothing against Paul Mazurkowitz because he can, run me under the table with one leg, and
Right?
he could do the Def Leppard thing. He could just
Oh,
have half his body and like
Def Leppard. That's a good one. What
and just run me under the table. But I mean, he's
if
it just like the last few like from Kill on those albums, like the drumming just got progressively better.
I believe that Eric Rutan is a very punctual producer, and I watched the behind the scenes on this album. He made him quit wearing gloves, quit using those big Apple head.
Marching band sticks.
Yeah, he made him change everything, use a click track. I think you're noticing him using a click track now and staying. And his drumming on this album it's still, to even the newest one, I feel like it's right there where it should be, in that era, if you will.
Mhm.
So, Kill, what a good start, man. What a good album. When I listen to that, I'm like, all the way through. Oh,
I can't talk to you right now. I'm busy. You
wrong,
know that.
wrong band. Where he did that one. That's the wrong
That was
band.
the first one. I know. Sorry, babe. I can't talk to you right now. I'm on the internet.
Ooh, the bleeding.
Ah, the bleeding. Yeah.
Oh man, I, I'll tell you this much: the bleeding to me was them. It is their Black album with Chris Barnes.
Mhm.
I feel
I
like
can see that.
this is you got the bleeding itself, pickaxe murders, stripped and strangled, dude, and their
Mhm.
grooves, the sound. This is pinnacle, Barnes, if you
Mhm.
will. This
The,
is
the
where they figured it out.
The Exorcist is a good track too,
Oh yes, it is.
but I think that was an earlier, like that was on something earlier. But
So
you know,
after this album, they did an EP with their old like producer that they did demos with, and they came out with that as just something fun, right? Something on
yeah,
top of it. Um, I will say I think this is the album that what's his face came on, the Jack Owen. So Jack Owen, the bald head, the goatee, Jack Owen. This is one of the ones he came in, and Rob Barrett came in too. Their old guitarist that they fired. This is the new one with kind of a new, band. Dude, they fired it all cylinders. They couldn't get any better than what the Bleeding was. Personally, I really do.
yeah,
Uh,
and like I said, the vocals actually, I almost thought it was. I thought this was the album that Corpse Grinder came in on because there was
yeah.
a different vocal style.
No, this is the
But then I
last
had to
one.
go look and I was like, oh, that's with him. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You know, I kind of want to put this in A, but I really feel like it's an S tier.
Yeah.
I think it's an S tier. It's not, I'll be honest, it is close to being the number one for me. Like very close. Um,
It definitely has a
Everything leading up to
complete,
this.
yeah, it has a complete sound to it.
Yes, it does. That's a good way of putting it. Complete sound. You're right, because when you got Eden the Butcher to Tomb, when it hit Tomb, it was like, okay, we got the way, time to fine tune the sound and everything. This is where the bleeding comes in. It's like, oh,
Yep.
perfect. This is their kind of their announcement to the world. Here we are, and this is where they got publicity too, like Oprah Winfrey and Bob Dole and him, Chris Barnes going on interviews with Ice-T. It's like, oh wow, okay, this is so it's pretty cool. I think that's an S tier for me.
Yeah, I'd put it up there for sure.
Did you do numbers like rank them in your?
No,
Okay. I didn't either.
I didn't really either because I mean, again, while there are nuances to them, like I'm going to be that guy where a lot of it sounds the same, so it's hard to rank it.
It is. You always have to diplomat. Okay, well, this is Chris Barnes. You can see the progression of Chris Barnes, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you get to Corpse, you're like, well, that's a lot more albums, and that's where I was saying you have to divide them into
break them up,
rank them in a certain way. But it's like, they have a dud or two, but it's not really a dud. You know what I mean? It's like
there's one of those like I could listen to it, but
yeah. It's like
I don't know that I'd go back to that one.
Yeah. I'm not mad it came on. Don't get me wrong. It's like,
no, if it's like, oh sure, I'll listen to it. Yeah,
it's fine. Coming through. All right. Then an old, kind of a middle one. You got an older one. What do we get?
I can't really see what that one is.
Eden Back to Life.
The original.
The original. How do you feel about the original?
I mean, they definitely have their sound on it.
Sure, very very thrashy.
It's definitely thrashy. It's got a good thrashness to it.
It has that Bay Area polka a lot.
It does, and being from the other side of the country is really cool that they got that.
Yeah,
but they're from Buffalo, so they were probably hanging out with Anthrax and whatever.
Exactly, you're exactly right. I will say this is a punky death thrashy metal where a lot of these songs kind of sound the same. This is this is kind of an awakening, but when you really listen to it now, you're like, man, that song sounds like that one. But they have glimpses in it where you have like a breakdown. You're like, man, that's Killer Groove, and they get right out of it. You're like, damn it.
Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man.
What was it? Rotting. What did I write down here? Rotting Head or something.
Ooh, I like Splatter. What is it? Splatter. Splatter Remains, Splatter Brains.
Yes, I like that one too.
Yeah,
actually,
the riff and Born in a Casket is kind of their.
That's like their other hit.
This is their other hit. Yeah, Skull Full of Maggots was pretty cool. I mean, dude.
Yep.
Killer song titles. If you really, I love it. Being a
they're great.
Fan.
Shredded Humans. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right.
But the cool thing with that Rotting Head is like it's like with like 5 seconds left of the song, they stop, and then they start right back up into the. It's like, oh, they're gonna go on, and then it's like done.
I am going to give this. I personally think maybe Eden was a high C. High C. So,
Hector Cooler.
Hector Cooler. Damn, you beat me to it. I was about to say that shit too. Drum roll.
Yep.
I think I'll give him this. This is a really good debut album too. I really, but also for the times, we're talking '89. The sound quality is a lot better. I think because being the first album, that album cover is pretty awesome too.
Yep, and you pick that thing off of the record shelf. You're going, what the hell is this?
Right? You're like, wow. In
I
shout
gotta check
out.
this out. Just
Yeah.
that was the thing too. Well, we'll get to it, but
Well,
whenever that particular album comes up. But
shout out to their artist named Vincent Locke. That he has done every album.
Every album.
And he finally went to a show like a month ago or something and finally got to see him.
After 30 something years.
You know what's funny? In the documentary, they're like, yeah, we just call him on the phone. We've never met him. We've always talked on the phone. Not in person.
It's like, here's the song title or here's the album title.
And Vincent Locke's kind of like a vampire. I just work at night, They're like, oh, okay, cool,
Oh, man, I feel like I've seen at least part of this documentary.
I think you have because I let you borrow it, I think that's the reason.
Because some of that sounding familiar. Is that one where they're like walking through the airport and like, man, I got to check my bags and.
It might be. They do a lot of. Shout out to them doing a lot of video stuff behind the scenes. I love bands that do that because they open up the door. But you know what, Cannibal Corpse, they're a bunch of nice dudes. They're the coolest dudes ever, especiry Corpse Grinder.
Yeah,
that's the gentle giant.
And the crane machines and giving away all the toys to Toys for Tots or whatever.
They might be the most brutal death metal and the most vile lyrics, but they are the nicest guys. I heard stories of them sitting out till 4 a.m. signing stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, cool. Yeah. That's cool as hell. Unlike Deicide, like, screw you, I'm going on the bus, or like, other bands. That's a Deicide. Sorry, name drop. My bad. My bad.
Like these assholes that see, that's going to be the next one the wheel picks. If only.
If only. All right, let's see what's next.
All right, what's next?
What is next? And this was the easy one, like, to listen to, because I've already I listen to it all the time. It's pretty easy.
I still come back to a couple of them every now and then.
Vile.
Now, I listened to the original one. I didn't do the 2007 remaster.
Okay. The remaster is really good. I have the original, though, but the remaster, they did a very good job. They made everything just a step better. That's all they really did. The drumming was a little low in the original, so the drumming kind of pushes itself out. This is Corpse Grinder's debut. So behind the scenes, before Vile, Cannibal was going to make another album, Chris Barnes, called Create to Kill, or Creation to Kill, or something like that.
Something.
And they had the art, they had the stuff, and kind of the music, but everything just kind of fell apart. And Chris had 6 Feet Under. So at the time, he had 6 Feet Under as a side band, a heavier, groovy death metal band, like your Crowbar of death metal. That's why I look at it.
Another name drop.
Sorry. Another name. We're on that bus. I think it was Chris was getting a little bit too much of a name for himself than the band itself. I think there was a lot of jealousy. I do. I think Chris was the face of Cannibal, and Chris knew it, and the guys didn't like it because it was a collective effort. But the guys were like, screw you, you can leave. Get out of here. We don't need you. And they kind of look back and could have maybe went a little bit better. But things happen for a reason, and Corpse Grinder's first album comes in. I did have to listen to this album again to really give it a fair judgment because it's been a while since it's not one I come back to with Vile.
Yeah, I can see that. Again, it was another one for me that it sounded the same.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know if there was another guitarist that came around. I don't know if that was when Webster was in there or... Well,
Webster's the bassist, so he's always been there. Rob Barrett and Jack Owen is the players during this time. I feel like they kind of had to change their sound for Corpse Grinder.
I think they did, and I feel like there's more. There's definitely like soloing on
Oh
this,
yes, very much. Yep.
where the other ones there was not.
No, it was more smashed in the face. This one had Jack Owen is a really good guitar player. Very, methodical, very to the point. He can do tapping very, very well. I've seen him do that. Um, I truly believe they this is the era of a different music direction because for one, you got somebody who can sing, pronounce the words death metal wise vocals. I mean, nothing against Barnes, but sometimes you don't know what he's saying, and you feel like you have the death metal frog, instead of being pronouncing the words. I kind of give this one a C personally, maybe a low B.
Yeah, I would put it in there as well. Like I say,
Where do you think?
I would say it would probably be a C for me, just again because of the sameness and
there's a couple
trying to find their way with it. I guess
it is a reboot. It is kind of a new era. I believe when you listen.
I think like Mummified and Barbed Wire is a pretty good song.
Okay. Devoured by Vermin's pretty good.
Yeah, I liked Bloodlands, and I did like Monolith. Like their album closers they always seem to have that just.
You're right. They do.
Punchy, just kind of. We're gonna give it everything we got for the end.
It's always the state. I remember with doing music, it's like you gotta have a great opener, filler in the middle, the best ending, so you know what it is. Mr. Massanova. Honestly, never really seen the Cannibalism Corpse, but y'all are making me want to check them out, dude. I'll tell you what, it's. When you listen to Cannibal Corpse, it's like you got the first 4 albums, and then you got another 4 albums, and then you got another 4. Yeah, the rest. You could say Eric Rutan. When he became guitarist, he really didn't get a difference, but the quality from Kill on is chef's kiss. It is top notch. Yes. Yep. So, do you think Vile is better than Eaton, though? I don't think so.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't.
Again, it's like first album and then first album with new guy.
Yes,
so
exactly.
They're pretty much equal, I would say.
They are. I'll leave it where it's at. I feel like nowadays doing this, it doesn't really matter, but it is a good conversation piece because you're like, man, is Eaton better than Vile? You're like, because it's kind of a new start for both. You get brand new, certain things and stuff like that. So
well, sure. And how many guys are going to be talking about Cannibal Corpse on a Sunday night?
and happy Mother's Day to all you fine mothers out there.
Cheers to the mothers. There we go.
All right, we got Bloodthirst. So, so you see the error I was talking about was like Vile, Gallery, Bloodthirst, Gore, and Wretched Spawn. The producer they used on those were like a couple different ones. You kind of can tell like a difference. And this is that period of drumming. Is the period of they were more of a rhythm based type of band during this time.
And I don't know if I was headphones listening to this one or not, but about half of them I had in headphones, but
yeah,
I could definitely hear the bass more.
Yes. And what a great sound, because he's such a good bass player. And, that's why I wanted Runyon to really listen to these certain albums, because the bass playing, I hope he picked it up and be like, man, this dude is killer. You might not like the singing, but the playing is an A plus, and they are. They're really old. Good.
Yeah.
40 years and you're still playing this metal. It's like, but being with Bloodthirst, I feel like it was a step up from Vile. I think it's like Pound the Dust. Man,
what a great opener.
What a great opener. And that's what captivates me. And then when you get to Unleash the Bloodthirsty, but this is that era where they started playing odd time signatures too. They play that odd stuff. You're like, all right, you just kept.
I guess.
This should have been 4/4, man. What are we doing here?
What are we doing here? We're trying to put some like 6/8 in there or something.
Yes, I respect it. I respect
definitely.
that. Does it work though in a death metal environment? Death already did that.
Yeah.
With Chuck Shoulder. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to fault him to being in a different avenue of something. You already have the Cannibal Groove. You can do thrash. You can do your hammer smash face. You got killer poppy songs. We call them poppy. And now you're doing a progressive, but staying in that lane though. That's the best part with them. I'll be honest, Bloodthirst, I would give that a C. Also, a low C. I will say that, was it Bloodthirst? That was my first Cannibal Corpse album. I remember listening to it years ago. I'm like, this is brutal. This is wild. We used to listen to it, we're like, how is he singing like that? How are they playing like that? And when you listen to the other ones, you're like, this is kind of tamed. This is kind of, but you can tell the quality and the sound too. Like the guitar work, it's okay. Singing, it is cookie cutout to a certain degree. Nothing against them, it's just the way it is. So, are we happy with that? Yeah,
I'm happy with it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of knew we were going to be on the same page a little bit on a lot of these, but that's the reason I wanted you guys to listen to the old one to a new one, but you went above and beyond. I appreciate that.
Yeah, like I said, man, I've always just, it's one of those, like, I've been, yay.
Yeah. Oh, Chaos Horrific.
Ah, man. I just listened to this.
Yeah.
like before we got on here. And I mean, there's some brutal ones. This is actually, it's pretty thrashy.
It can be. I did listen to it a couple times, and the song that comes out to me is the Chaos Horrific.
Chaos Horrific about cannibal corpses.
Exactly. And there was another one too. I think
Bloodblind.
Yes, Bloodblind
is another just brutal, I'm gonna punch you in the face until you're dead song.
It is. It's cannibal. It's total cannibal. But I noticed they didn't have really any catchy things to it, like Kill and Evisceration Plague.
Yeah, not really. I mean, this one, it's a good album.
It is. Being 40 years in, I'm pretty impressed with that.
Yep. There's only so much you can do. There's only, like I say, there's only so many notes that can be played.
There is only so many blast beats you can really play. I think his drumming is still good. I think it's top up there. Sound quality is still good. Guitar work, I wasn't impressed by it to a degree. I don't want to say it was a cookie cutout, but it was definitely nothing memorable.
It was, I don't want to say it was thrown together, but it
Yeah,
kind of has that. Here you go. This is what we got. This is what we're doing. Like it
yeah.
or don't.
It's an album to get out to the road,
Mm-hmm.
to get out there.
Yep. To fulfill their contractual obligations.
Yes. In which they have been with Metal Blade, flagged for 40 plus years too. They gave them the first and still with them, and kind of shows their credibility to they're stand up type of guys. They do business right. They do it right. The guys will play different countries. They will go as far as they can go.
Mm-hmm.
But do we kind of put this in the C column too? I kind of do.
I kind of do. I mean, because I mean, really, just like you said, chaos, horrific, and blood blind. I mean, maybe summoned for sacrifice are like
Okay, I'll give you that one too.
Like the hits, I guess.
Yes, yeah. The other ones are just filler, and
yeah, and even the like Drain You Empty, I did not get that last track.
Yes.
Good time feel.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Feel. It makes me so fucking happy. It's so joyful,
Oh, the Radio Disney version of these songs are hilarious too.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, definitely check out the Radio Disney version of Hammer Smashed Face. It is fantastic.
What do we got? Is that Gallery of Suicide?
I think so.
I think so. It is Gallery of Suicide. This one to me, this is the groove album to me.
Mm-hmm.
I Will Kill You, Sentence to Burn. They have
Gallery of Suicide. I mean,
yes.
And their other, what was their other ballad on there? Skin to Liquid.
Yes. What a weird kind of song. Yeah. Had a weird feeling to it, but it
did. Yeah, I dug it.
But being with this is one of those albums I'll pick.
This one, because I wrote down too that like there were tempo changes and
yes,
like time changes and everything, and I was like, that's.
Well, this is the one after Vile and before Bloodthirst. So this is that era of even Vile had that motion too. Let's change time. Let's add in a new something to it.
Yeah.
I do feel like this album is the album they figured out the groove, a different groove, and they really locked in to. I mean, Sentence to Burn is just you're like, dude, this is
it's
holy fuck,
Yep.
But it's one of those albums that you just take a couple songs and you're like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to listen to this whole album. It doesn't captivate me, and I'll be honest. I would probably put this in D. I'm just not impressed.
I wanted to be more impressed with it. I really did. And it just, I mean, I'm not saying that it was like a letdown, but it was just kind of like, what are we doing here?
They from Vile.
It was like trying to be proggy, experimental, time change thing. And I mean, I get it. Everybody goes through it.
Yes. They're still Cannibal, but a different Cannibal.
Yeah.
They still have the Cannibal groove and sound, but it wasn't brutal. Like
yeah, it was almost like a oh shit. That might have been the other one I was thinking of that had more of like a new metal kind of sound to it.
Okay. With the producers, they used Colin Richardson. He was a new metal guy. Some of these producers were part of the new metal scene, and they kind of, those 5 albums from Vile to The Wretched Spawn was different. They had 1 for 2, 1 for 2, and 1 for 1. They didn't have a Scott Burns for 4 albums.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that, and you kind of can tell. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I mean, it kind of snuck in there a little bit. And I was
it
like,
did.
eh.
But you know what? Sentence to Burn, that's a killer. Just that by itself, that's a killer
Yep.
tune. I can come back
Yep.
to that one a lot.
Yep.
Um,
And Gallery of Suicide is actually a pretty decent song.
it is. You're right. It has that different feel,
Yep. I mean,
to it.
yeah, like we said, there's a handful of tracks on here that you can come back to and go, yeah,
Yeah.
I can dig that.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the Wretched Spawn is actually next. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to go back over some of it before I got on here, and yeah, this is another one where
I this one to me has more hits on it.
it does have more. It has more like potential, like the Wretched Spawn. They do
Yes.
seem to do well with the title tracks.
Just decency defied. Frantic Disembowelment. Holy fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Frantic Disembowelment is just nuts of a song. Good on them to kind of go to that end of, well, I think we could play it. Let's just try, and then they
Yeah, that was that was always my thing. I was like, not that I'm ever going to be on a stage anyway, but it's like, if I do this, can I play this live?
The Ace Ventura song is Hammer Smash Face from Tomb of the Mutilated.
Yep.
We haven't talked about the album yet, but we kind of talked about
We'll get there.
We're going to get there.
We'll get there.
I tell you what, the most underrated song that I always come back to is Festering in the Crypt. I think the starting to it and how they progress to it, dude, I think that's a killer song. Like, it gets me every time.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. And I like Slain.
Yep. Yes. I personally will put this one step in front of Gallery. And actually, I'm going to put Bloodthirst. I'm going to put this kind of in the C column.
I could see that.
I personally, Chaos Horrific, I think is a little bit better, but I think this one had just a little bit more kind of to the point. Like the riffing was to the point. It was nothing crazy and stuff like that. Tomb of the Mutilated, when we get to that, we're going to talk about that. That is might be an S tier. You'll find out in a minute. You'll find out. I think this was a pretty good album. I think because this was the last one before Kill. I think this is the one they kind of figured out.
Kind of taking that step.
Yes.
To get there.
Yeah, I think if they would have kept going this direction, the next one would be. It just keeps on getting better. This is a pretty good one. I could come back to this one. Don't think the C ones are not ones you can't come back to. It's just when I listen to an album, if it's 50% or better, it's kind of in the B tier, and you kind of work from there. This is 4 out of 12. It's under half to me. So being with that. So, but check out those songs. The songs are killer. They are killer. They are good ones. Mm-hmm. So, all right, let's go.
Moving on.
Because we got so many. Geez.
I know it.
So stay here, Rob, because we're going to have the spin of 300 bands. We're going to find out the next one.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. I can't believe we got Exodus. We had Dream Theater, Exodus, Cannibal. These are really good bands. I can't believe we're listening to.
Yep. One out of,
Yep.
Because we'll just, anyway.
Tomb of the Mutilated.
Who knew that one would come up next? This album, dude. It's brutal all the way through, and there's only like 9 songs on here, 10 songs.
Hammer Smash Face, their classic end of the night song. Mm-hmm. You might as well call it their Pull Me Under. Mm-hmm. It really is.
It's their Enter Sandman.
Entrails Ripped. That's a good one. Post Mortal.
Yep.
Um,
Mike Runyon's favorite song, "I Come Blood."
that's right. All you ladies out there. Beyond the Cemetery is a underrated
It
one
really
for
is.
me.
Like I really dug that song.
I did too. But I'll be honest with you, I like Kill better than this one.
Yeah,
I think Kill is a step up from it, but I'll tell you what, it is very close for me
it's
to.
definitely an A, I think.
I think so too. It is one of those, you
And
know,
I don't know if this was on purpose. And I don't mean to cut you off and talk over you there,
sure.
but there was like pieces to me. It seemed like there were pieces of Hammer Smashed Face throughout other songs on the album,
I didn't notice that.
like a little bit of the riff here and there. I mean,
Yeah,
it could have just been me as I was driving down, 95 and
sure. Yeah, I hear you. Well, their guitarist that they had there, I forgot his name. This was his last album, and they had a problem with him where his name was Russo.
well,
His
first,
riff,
I mean, that just makes sense.
his yeah, I know, right? His riffing, they were having problems after the bleeding. Um, he was not keeping up with the band, and they're like, hey, this next album, you got to step up, you got to bring stuff to the table. I feel like a lot of riffing was him redoing a lot of stuff because he couldn't progress. Like he brought something and he took it and just manipulated it for another song of a same riff.
Yeah.
They kind of took it, and after this album, they fired him, and that's where Rob Barrett came in, which has been with him since at that time. I think you're right. I didn't notice it, but a lot of the riffings are the same in these songs. You're right about that one. Um, is this an album I can listen to front and back? The Bleeding, I could. This one,
Yeah.
I'd kind of skip a song or two. Kind of like,
Yeah. Necro pedophile.
yeah, it doesn't captivate me. Or
No.
Split Wide Open, not really. I'll put this in A. I think Kill is a lot better. Not a lot, but it's just better.
It's better.
Um, I can
Just further down the road, and
the sound quality on this is a lot better.
it is. And another thing I noticed too is like the vocals seem to be further back in the mix.
Yeah,
They were like pushed back, so you didn't really know. It was almost like another instrument.
yes, yes, very.
So it would be almost like not necessarily instrumental, but
Well,
it's
Chris
just
could
like,
cut through. He could cut
oh, he
through a
could.
lot of that stuff. And actually, they put him as an instrument in the bindings. They say Paul is drums, and whoever, and like Vox. He is his own instrument. You're right about that one. This is where they started getting publicity a little bit. They started getting the interviews, and then when the bleeding happened, oh, it just opened the floodgates. Everybody wanted to know about Cannibal Corpse.
Well, again, and it's funny too because I first heard about Cannibal Corpse in Ace Ventura,
It is the gateway. It is the gateway.
So I was like, wow, and that was the only reason I bought the soundtrack to the Ace Ventura.
You bought
movie.
The soundtrack? No shit.
I did. I still have it somewhere, and I do love that. I do love that song with Tone Loc at the end of it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But then I went out looking for Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Couldn't find it.
Really?
Couldn't find it. Like I went out to like the back in the early times when the mall had a music store.
FYE and Musicland and Sam
Musicland
Goody.
and Sam Goody. Yeah.
Rob should know that. You should know that too.
Couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. Like
I think they were blacklisted.
They probably were, and I think it was because it was the other two. I could only find Butchered at Birth and Eaten Back to Life. So
sure.
Tomb of the Mutilated wasn't there. And
because you figure at that time Ace Ventura came out.
That was 94, so the Bleeding would have been out too, but
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because yeah, the bleeding would have been out. You're right. Um,
But it just, yeah,
yeah,
I couldn't find it, so I just left my journey.
you left
And
my journey.
I came
Red.
back to it though.
All
Where are
right,
we at?
red before black.
Oh, yeah, I did not have the pleasure of listening to that one.
So I'll be honest, red before black really didn't do nothing for me. It's one of those albums where you picked a couple. It wasn't like the album didn't flow, but you could tell it was a extension of going from Torture to Skeleton to Red. It kind of follows, okay, this is chapter 4 of the same book. You know, they have the same sound. The groove, you know, they have Code and Slasher. That's
Yep,
the
I've heard that one
you
before.
know, Firestorm was pretty good, and Red Before Black is pretty good too. But a lot of these songs kind of have a different vibe to them. Like they were kind of going for a feeling type of stuff where you felt like, you know, it's just a different feeling to it. And this is one of those I don't come back to either. And I'll be honest, it's probably a C. And uh, yeah, probably a low C. I'll probably put it as a low C. It's pick a song from it and go from there.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I would say Code of the Slashers is probably the song.
the song, yeah, because they made a video for it. It kind of sucks because if you start noticing, a lot of these C ones are you're picking the songs out of them, and you're like, okay, take away, pick. When you get to kind of the B and A, you almost can listen to a couple, skip one, listen to a couple. A, you're like, okay, I might have skip one or two, and S, you're like, okay, let it play all the way through. And D is kind of just like C, but D is like I got one or two, and you're like, okay. I mean, thank you for the album. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Maybe in a lot of two, you have to think about the live version. Like, is the live version better than what you heard? I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think they play right what the album does up to that point. They're a great live band. I've heard they're really good.
Tuesday at the Fillmore in Silver Spring, if anybody's interested.
Yeah, Tuesday. So
I have a prior engagement. I can't make it, but
yeah, I got to work, so I can't do jack. That's pretty far too. So
yeah.
Ugh. I'm old. I don't want to go anywhere. I went to DC for a wedding this weekend. I'm done going up north.
You're done traveling for a while.
I'm super done traveling for a while.
Well, DC too. Like, what are we doing here? Who decided that?
Yeah, I know. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, we won't get into it. That's not. It's neither here nor there.
All right. Torture.
I like this album.
So they definitely had a lot. Half of the songs were very listenable and very high energied to me. I think this was kind of Kill Part 2 to a certain degree, because Plague, we'll get into that. That's a go from Kill to Plague to Torture. I think it was a. I would give it a B, because a lot of these songs I can listen to at least halfway.
I really like the Strangulation Chair.
Do you? I didn't really.
I love that crazy bass thing in the middle.
That's true.
I don't know. I was like, that's really cool.
What is it? Demented Aggression. I think that was a great opening track. Scourge of Iron has that double bass. I love when they do thrash metal itself, not the death metal part, just the metal part, and you're just and his drumming is really good on this album. I think he went more of a heavy metal sound sprinkled in with death metal, that
Mhm.
type. Caged and Contorted, that was pretty good. Crucifer Avenged, I think it was pretty good too.
Mhm.
I think this would be a B for me.
It would be a high B for me. Like I say, I
Yeah,
really, I liked it.
yeah. I
Say there were some I'm like, yeah, all right, go through that, but
the skip over. At least I
yeah.
feel like half of them were I could pick them out. At least take half.
Oh, sure.
The sound quality again, Eric Bruton, it's top of the line.
Yep,
Always
it's
is.
good.
They know how to do sound, like they know what they want. They do such a good
Mhm.
job with that. I really, really do. That's one thing I do appreciate about them. What is this? Violence?
Violence unimagined. Yeah.
I Dude, I will say this was like their thrashy, fast album, like really hard and
Yeah.
crunchy to me, super crunchy.
I know I have heard Inhumane Harvest on here a bunch of times.
That's their hit. That's their
That's their big hit on there.
yeah. That I
Maybe Surround, Kill, Devour.
yes, I
Yeah, I
think
think I've heard
so.
that too. So,
Bound and Burned is pretty good too. They didn't really do a groove that much on this album. They really went for the speed and the heaviness. Um, I think it's a high C in front of Eaton, definitely.
mhm.
I think it's a high C, close to a B for me. Um, that's it's
I'll agree just by the songs that I've heard.
yeah. It's still a good album, because that's in 2001. It was
2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much. I listened to this one from Plague to this one, and I enjoyed going that route. Is from there to there. I think now, granted, too, a lot of these albums after the Plague I didn't really get into. I did have to get them, but Violence Imagined, when that came out that day, I threw it in to listen to it. I listened to the whole album straight in the gym. I was like, man, it sounds crushing. Like they had a purpose with this one or something. It was really good. High C, still pretty good to me. I think so. Being with that. Now, did you listen to that one, or was it a?
No, like I said,
Okay.
I've only heard a couple, couple, like I think those two songs were the only ones I heard. I didn't get a chance to get that
Fair
one
enough.
in.
I'll say that is probably one to check out. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's on
Especially
my list.
yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, I know. All the 10,000 other ones, like jeez, like you don't have enough to do.
Yeah, I really don't. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just add another album to listen to. Sure, why not?
Yeah, I hear you. Gore obsessed. Um, I'll be honest. I did
Yeah, I didn't
not.
like it.
I did. I think this is their worst album they have. I really do. The only
It
one.
what is it? When Death Replaces Life has got a very doomy kind of sound to it.
Pit of Zombies is pretty good. That's a pretty good one. But this is their like throwaway album to me. This is demos.
Yeah,
This is a demo
that's
album
what it.
to me.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Like I mean, just like Drowning in Viscera or whatever that was.
Yeah, it was Bloodthirst, this one, and Wretched Spawn. If they would have came out with Bloodthirst to Wretched, it would have been a lot better. To me, it would have been a lot better. And Gore Obsessed was, I feel like it could have been an EP, to be honest, like something to put out there.
Well, didn't they come out? Wasn't that EP? Let me see if this has it on here.
This is one you never hear about. This is the one nobody talks about. There's no songs you're like, oh yeah, that song. I've never heard
Yeah,
anybody talk about this, but I forget about this album to be honest.
yeah. There's the worm infested EP.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
lovely 6 song that has the very good No Remorse
Oh, that's right. You were
cover on
talking
there.
about that. I
Yeah,
would check
but
that out.
I haven't that was on my list of things to check out if I had more time, but um, I say that No Remorse covers is pretty killer.
Pretty killer.
Yeah.
Like this album does not have any catchy things to it. I feel like it was just
No,
whipped together.
it's
It
just
whipped together.
straightforward. Like
Yeah.
it's another one. Like this is what we got. Whatever.
Yeah, take it or leave it. This is what we're coming out with, and it was during that time that you really didn't hear about Cannibal. This is
Yeah.
one of the albums you're like, I
It's
didn't
one of
know
the
that.
forgotten ones. Yeah.
Yes, one of the forgotten ones. And to be honest, it should be. This is their lowest. This is the lowest one on the list for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, I didn't either, and it sucks because you know, it's just one of those things that
That's it.
every band has it. And this one, Skeleton Domain, this is another one that really didn't
Didn't do it for
captivate
you.
me. No, it didn't. It had one or two songs like High Velocity Impact and Kill or Become. That's a pretty good one. And
Yeah.
then from there, it's like Bloodstained Cement, maybe, and Asphyxiation and Resuscitation. But it really,
And you would think a song like Ice Pick Lobotomy would be good.
I know, right? Is this one of the ones you checked out?
No, I didn't get this one
No.
either.
I'll be honest. It's better than Gallery and it's better than Gore, but Bloodthirst is better than this. It was felt cookie cut out. And see, this is the one where it goes from Torture to Red Before Black. I would be Torture to Violence. So if you had Skeletal and Red to Black, those are filler albums to me. Those are filler albums to get back on the road.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
sucks.
especially when they come out, in 2 years, they're doing that Right Record tour every 2 years thing.
Yep. I feel like they are one of those bands where they feel like they have to now because they're getting to the age where, you could have done that 6 years ago. I mean, 20 years ago.
Mhm.
That's kind of how they did it, though, because technology was a lot slower. They have Eric Rutain, that is a genius in the band, too. So you got double. The man is a perfectionist.
Mhm.
I'll give them this. Their sound quality has always been good.
Yeah.
Always been good. I will never doubt them with that. And
Evisceration Plague.
dude, what an album. Now,
Yeah, this one was their, I don't want to call it a calling card, but this one was like, again, it was like, I'm going to punch you in the face.
for me, this is an S. This
Yeah.
is total S. They have one song that I could care less, which is Unnatural.
Yeah.
But other than that, it is a banger. This album, the sound quality going from Kill to Evisceration Plague, what a step up. It was, they figured out Kill to get to Plague.
Mm-hmm.
Like they figured out the producer with Eric, and they're like, all right, now we got to make something even more brutal. This has everything you want for a Cannibal album.
Mm-hmm.
I think they shot their load on this one.
I think so because I mean again killer opening track with Priests of Sodom and then
but they have the weird time signature, but it works.
It worked, yeah, and like some of them can kind of sound stockish, the same, but like when Evisceration Plague comes on again with the title track, that is Evisceration Plague. Like you can pick that out of a lineup.
What a killer group. Carvarius Swarm? Oh my God, I've never heard his drumming being so fast. And so this takes over from Frantic Disavowalment. Like that song is their Frantic Disavowalment in the later decade. You're like, you're really playing this? This is nuts. Like you can't be playing this live. Like this
Where are your triggers?
Yeah. I definitely like Evidence in the Furnace. I think is a good one, and Shatter Their Bones. I this album to me is the best singing from Corpse Grinder 2. I think Kill in this one. I give this one more credit than Kill. It's just something about it. If you put those back to back, I'd be like, this is Cannibal. This is who they are. And it's like, awesome.
This is like this is their black album of like the 2009, 10.
Sure. Man, that's a great point. That's a really good point. This is their, I wish they would have made this sooner because I think they would have been, let me take that back. Out of those 5 albums, Vile was probably the best out of the 5 that we talked about with, Vile, Gallery, Bloodthirst, Gore, and Spawn. Vile is the best one out of the 5, right? But I felt like they kept going down and down and down and down. Bloodthirst was okay. Wretched Spawn was okay. But when Kill came back in, they just revitalized their career. They were able to get back into the public because the other ones were like, I know they didn't do good. I know they didn't. I don't know how much of a fan you are. I understand. Load and Reload. You got to love them because you love the band. But it's one of those. Kill was like,
those are the albums you don't come back to.
You only because you put them in random, right? You put them in random, it has to come up.
Yeah, or you've got like the couple songs that you like on that album.
But Kill was like, oh, they're back, and they sound fresh. It was a fresh sound, very fresh. And Plague was like, well, we just perfected it. This is perfection.
We took that a step up.
Took it a step up. That's right. Oh, well, that's a spin, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Butchered at Birth.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a mixed bag with Butcher because I can tell you this much.
Sophomore album.
The sound, they are a lot better, but muddier. It felt muddier there. But it had more muscle behind the songs. It was very bass oriented, like guitar, and everything was bassy. I think his vocals were picture perfect where they should be. It was a lot better than Eden to me. But the songs, I mean, Butcher to Birth, that's a good one. Yeah. Covered in Sores, that's a classic one too. I like Meat Hook and Living Dissection. Those are pretty good too. But I only give this maybe a B at most.
Yeah, maybe. It's like a middle so? B, kind of middle to lower B, I would say.
It's better in Torture. I do say it's better in Torture. But what do you think? You think Torture is better?
I liked Torture better, but
okay. I think the sound quality in Torture makes it a lot better too.
And that might be why.
Yeah, you really have to look at the Barnes error, and because you're trying to take the old stuff and remaster it, it makes it better. Don't get me wrong, but if they were able to make that today, it might be better. It's just one of those maybe ifs, blah blah blah.
I didn't really have much on this one.
No, I do come back to this album, but halfway through, I'm like, it's too muddy, too bassy, it's too thick. It's like drinking an IPA. It's too thick, man. You need something. Dude, I had IPA last night, and that stuff's like molasses to me. Like,
oh yeah,
it's too thick. And I understand their instrumentals, their instrumentalities or their musicianship did get a lot better. I do give them that. I think B is fair enough. I might have gave it a C, but I feel like we got a lot of C's right there.
There are a lot of C's. That's like half of them are.
Yeah, half of them are C's.
Half of them are C's.
But I think it's the legacy. I feel like these songs were probably better live. That portion of it. But I am very happy. Actually, my list was very close to this. Very, very close. Maybe one or two. I did have a lot more in D because I'm very I listened to 2 out of 10. Man, that's a D. You know what I mean? And I guess it's not being fair to it. But when you have 16 albums, it's hard to be like, well,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of these albums are at least a 5 out of 10 or higher out of it all. I don't think there was a total stinker, maybe Gore. Gore Obsessed might have been the one.
Yeah, because that's just not good.
It's not. If there was an F album, that would be
in it. Yeah.
That would be. But a lot of times, even D, if you can take a couple songs and take a couple here, take a couple there, and you can put them in a mix, they're good songs, especially the groovy ones. You can put those together with no problem. Thought you were a rolling rock man, Lord. Dude, I'm rolling whatever I get in my hands, guy. Because I went to a wedding and that's what they had was an IPA, and then they had some special vodka drink, and dude, it was a wedding. Let's put it like that. It was a wedding.
Yeah.
But being that way, I was like, all right. Well, I mean, if I had Rolling Rock, stuff like that. I was like, all right, that's cool, But 16 albums, of course. I'll be honest, Rob. I listen to Cannibal Corpse all the time because it's on my random list, but I listen to certain songs. I don't listen to albums. So actually what I did, I took 4 albums, which is the Chris Barnes. It only takes 2 hours to listen to 4 songs, 4 albums from them. They're very short. I feel like they got longer when Vile came out, which is an hour long. So I broke them up into 3 or 4 albums and listened to them every day. No, sorry, listen for the whole day. So they just play through because we are in our trucks for quite a while, right? So you're able to at least get an album or 2 in per week, I would figure. But we break them up, Rob. So yeah, I'm old. So what happened is I listened to them all because I'm just an elitist. I believe I need to listen to them all. It's just what I do. John listened to a couple, but he listened to a lot too. So thankful he did that. But Mickey was supposed to listen to 2 or 3. Runyon was listening to 2 or 3. But I give you the albums to listen to for that week, so you don't have to listen to all 16. Soon enough, it'll get into a rhythm where we'll be doing it every 2 weeks, so you do have a little bit more time. But for now, it's like if you listen to 2 or 3, it's good enough because you can, all right, spin the wheel. Okay, it's this one. Who had that one? You go. And more people listen to it. Yeah, it's more conversation, but it's more of, hey, this is the rating. Here it is. This is, check them out. This is what we think. If any album I tell you to check out, Evisceration Plague.
Yep.
That one by itself. The Bleeding is after that. So you get the Chris Barnes, you get, Corpse Grinder, perfect both worlds, being that way.
Yep. And then I would kind of do the same thing with Kill and Tomb of the Mutilated.
Right.
If you do those 4 albums in that order, if you go Evisceration Plague, The Bleeding, Kill, and Tomb of the Mutilated, that's overall
Cannibal. That's
Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
That's who they are.
When you listen to the B's, C's, and D's, those are the fans. Those are, we've been here for 20 plus years. You know, the first four, the S and A's are the, who's Cannibal Corpse? These albums.
These albums.
Check them out.
Yep.
And you don't have to give them no background and stuff like that. Be like, check those
Be
four.
like, well, you know, they started in 1989 in Buffalo. Then they moved to Tampa. You're like, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Who cares? Check these four out. Those
I got
four.
this really cool underground garage recording them from like, you know, 1990, man.
I know. It's like, God.
Who are you? A Grateful Dead guy? Go away, man. Oh, I can't say that. I have my family friend is a huge Grateful Dead guy. And
yeah.
He's got so much Grateful Dead stuff. It's
unreal.
It's unreal, man. But he's fun to hang out with, just talk to.
They're Grateful guys. They're kind of interesting.
Oh, and they will talk forever. It don't matter.
About the good old days. The good old days.
The good old days when they were like, you know, watching the band, you know, like I followed them for 6 months back in, you know, the 70s, man.
Yeah. But I see them in the, well, you know, Rob, that's the point of this show too. You listen to bands you don't listen to, and your opinion's a little bit more important because you don't listen to this music. It's very important, and it spreads the awareness of these people. Like, oh, I don't want to listen to it. It's Cannibal Corpse. Blah blah blah. It's like, dude, every book has a better chapter. There's good chapters in books. You might not like the book, but you might like a chapter or two. That's where these albums come into play. It is paying respect too. The guys have been around for 40 years. I don't care if you like them or not. You got to respect what they do.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the overall main thing of this is just to give respect to the genre.
Spread the awareness. That's right. Spread the metal awareness.
And again, I know there's stuff we're going to be like, what the hell are we listening to?
I'm ready for it. It's but if you can pick and take something away from it, it's a win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
really
for sure.
I'll tell you this much: the last show, Gorgoth, that was kind of a hard one for everybody, even for me.
It was rough. Yeah,
it was rough. But you play the game. This is what you do. You play the game and you go through with it. I don't expect you to listen to all the albums, but at least give me a fair share of 2 to 3. 2 to 3 will always determine a band. You listen to the early stuff, the middle stuff, and the later stuff. 111, that will give you an overview. Unless they have this crazy out of the blue album, you're like, you really got to listen to this one. But that's something we would say, like, oh, you really got to listen to, like, Eviscerate, man. Just listen to that one. Tell me what you think. You know, it's like kind of worked out. So, are we good with the list? Are we happy?
I'm happy with it.
Rob, check out Visceration Plague and the Bleeding. You will not regret it. I tell you. And you guys, whoever's on the show. So, all right. Oof. The big moments. Big moments. All right. Look at those bands. I can't even tell who's who.
I don't even know. Like, it's just colors.
You're talking, it is 296 bands on there. That's what's on there right now. Because everything is right here.
Oh.
See, these are what's on there. Yes. Let me make sure. Cannibal Corpse.
Good day to you, Cannibal Corpse.
Good day. Look, we got like Candlemass and like Candlebox.
Cavalier Conspiracy, man, yeah.
I put that in there myself.
Oh,
I believe that's good. They got a couple good albums, like 4 or 5 to at least go to. But I told you guys, if you got a band to put on there and we all agree on it, I'm all about it. You know what I mean? I'm always about bands like Transatlantic.
Do we not have Dark Angel on there? Did I not see that?
Oh yeah, Dark Angel's in here.
Okay.
Let's see if it's not Dark Funeral, Dark Throne. Let's go back up here. They separated kind of weird.
Oh yeah. Well, there's Death Angel,
Death
not to be
Angel.
confused with Dark Angel.
You know what? You know what, good man? Dark Angel. Bam.
Just because the whole
Yeah,
fan of Gene Hoglan.
absolutely. Well, these are in alphabetical order, and then they go back to alphabetical order. So they go
That's
to
weird.
W. Yeah, it is weird. I didn't want that, but it's just the way it is, you know.
Hey,
I could
that's okay.
So, all right. Are we ready?
Wow, really? Beastie Boys?
Yeah. Well, they
Well,
were
I
a punk band.
mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, okay. No, I get it. I mean, that'll be a fun one.
Right.
That'll be a fun one.
It definitely would. Oof. All right.
Here we go.
Here we go.
So let's see. We had an E band, we had a G band, and then we had a C.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see.
Which guitar string is it going to be this time?
D. Let's see. What do we
It
get?
stopped in D.
Sure. Vader. Oh man, that's a death metal band, Vader.
Wow.
Yeah, they are from Sweden, if I'm not mistaken, or
somewhere over there.
They do a killer Fire with Fire cover that is freaking awesome. But that's the next band is Vader. I look, man, I don't make up these rules. Like I got U2 on there. U2. I got Yes, and
so I was just against U2 for the longest time.
Sure.
And then it just, I don't know if I got beaten down with just hearing it. And I'm like, yeah, they're okay. They're not so bad. I just wanted to be like, sometimes I was that guy.
Yeah.
Where I just wanted to be like, I've never listened to anything and whatever.
See, there's Whitesnake on here. There's the Stooges. There's Styx.
That'd be a good one too.
See, they're all there. It's just that's the.
Oh, when we get to Journey, I have some thoughts about Journey.
Like there's Bon Jovi on here.
I gotta say, like his. Well, see, I'm gonna be that guy. Well, his earlier stuff.
His really early stuff. So
his really early stuff when he was in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
I saw him on the docks in 1986.
God.
By the bay. When I was 6 years old, I saw him.
No. Dock by the bay. Shit, God.
All right, so Vader is next week.
So we're going to figure out what day. We will post it on YouTube, Twitter and Facebook, what day it is. It might be a Sunday. I think Sunday is a pretty good day for us. We're going to check with the other guys. So
Sunday will be good for
me. Sunday. So, all right, John, I appreciate you being here. I really do.
Absolutely.
Rob, thank you for being in chat. Maybe you'll be in the show. If you want to be in the show, let me know. I can tell you what albums to pick out.
Oh, dear God. How many albums do they have?
They have a lot. Dude, they're from the 90s. They're, they got a lot of albums too. So
I'm seeing that.
I will subdivide to people. Tell me how many you want.
So, I mean, I guess we're going through the whole deal with like how Spotify does with, there's so many, and then whatever it starts at like 92, then goes to 2000. So
whatever you guys have, yeah, absolutely, Rob, please. And, if you could be in the show, that'd be great. If you just want to listen to albums, let us know what you think of them. You don't even have to be on here. That's cool too.
Unless they had a bunch of EPs that came out, but like a 14-song EP, really?
Yeah. Well, let's do this. Go to Google. Let's go to Vader. It'll probably bring up Vader.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, they do a cover of Raining Blood and Black Sabbath. Well, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. They do pretty cool covers. To be honest. Oh, god damn it. Let's see. Vader albums. Favorite albums, blah blah blah. Give me the wiki of them. Oh, there we go. Discography. And remember, we're just going studio. They don't have many studios. They got
really?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So they got 12. Because they did 2 cover albums. They did 2 lives, a compilation, re-recorded, and they do have a lot of EPs. So they got 12.
Right.
I mean,
well, I mean, there's a ton on here, so just kind of shoot me what the studio ones are, and then we can
go from there. Okay. All right. Well, guys, we will go from there. Vader's the next, and just check it out with what day we're going to be. So we'll go from there. All right, John. Thank you again. Really appreciate it. Rob, thank you. And everybody else, thank you for showing up. Please like, comment, subscribe, and tell us what you think. Later.